things like that. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I don't know why I thought that was more interesting than being famous.
Hey, it's Matt Markin. I'm here at Cal State San Bernardino, and I am so excited for this interview. I get to interview Dr. Deborah Parsons, the Assistant Dean for the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for interviewing me today.
I'm glad you made the time. And I think this will be a fun interview. I got some questions to ask you. So one is, you've worked at Cal State San Bernardino for a few years now.
Right.
How has the advising landscape changed from when you started to now?
Well, that's a very interesting question. And I can tell you that it has changed remarkably. First of all, one of the things that I came from a university where we did have an advising staff. So when I first came here, I had all these students lined outside my office, and I asked them, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "Oh, we're here for advising." And I said, "Well, go to your advisor." And they go, "No, you are our advisor." And I went, "Oh no, I can't be." So I realized that the faculty do the advising here, and I wasn't really prepared for that. I was more interested in, of course, being a first-time professor and teaching and research. I had no idea about the advising. So I started getting into the advising, and I really enjoyed it. And so I would volunteer we had orientations that were like one day, and it was for freshmen only. It wasn't for transfer. And so I would volunteer my Saturday to come in and meet with students, and I'd have my bulletin of the Cal State Bulletin, and I'd have my schedule of classes, and I'd sit down with students who came in for advising, and I really messed them up.
I doubt that.
Well, you'd be surprised. I knew nothing about, even though I had been through so many years of the bachelor's program, master's program, and doctorate program, I didn't really know about general education or the policies and things like that. Over the course of the years, of course, I've learned more about how to advise students properly. But in the beginning, it was just sort of hit and miss. And I didn't even know really the curriculum of my department. I just knew what I taught. So, you can see how unprepared we were for, I think, faculty. Some of them probably did it well. Some of them didn't. But back in 2014, we decided to hire 5 academic advisors, professional advisors for the colleges. And what we discovered was that every college could benefit from having somebody who was professionally trained as an advisor, and it was so helpful. And I didn't realize it was a thing, and when I saw how great they advised, I was amazed at the information and the theory behind it and everything.
You've actually been a faculty member for about 25 years now, and also you were in law enforcement.
Yes.
So how has law enforcement maybe helped you in your teaching?
Well, I could say that when I was teaching in the classroom, which was about 5 years ago now, the students really liked the fact that I had experience in the field, and so I had credibility with the students. They understood that I've been there, done that, and I had lots of stories for them,
And I know some of those.
My stories were always about, the job, and it was exciting for these students that want to get into law enforcement, get into law, get into working in the prison system or the corrections or whatever. I think I was able to give them that real world experience. And I think that is one of the things that I was able to bring into teaching. But also, I think it helped me with being a little bit more disciplined. I was fun in the classroom, but I also had a sense of discipline, and I think students also appreciated that part of it too. And now in my role now, I think the police experience has helped me immensely.
So last question would be, what is your biggest takeaway from your career?
I think my biggest takeaway is really that my career was a lot different than I thought it would be. I'm going to be answering different. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, dear.
So what happened was we recorded, but the timer hit, and we don't know when it stopped.
Yeah. So, I think that, I came into academia to teach, and I love criminology and the subject matter. But what I learned along the way is that really isn't about the subject. It's about the human contact that I have. And I think that's what made me successful in the classroom, was because I really cared more about the students than I cared about the content of what I was teaching. I think they enjoyed what I was teaching because I was engaged with them and they were engaged with me. And I think my takeaway is that the role I'm in, I've always been in this role. Really, it's really guiding students, mentoring students to find their pathway. I started late. I went to 5 different community colleges. I finally ended in law enforcement, and then I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my degrees, and so I did that. And so my pathway was sort of late and long. I didn't receive my PhD till I was 40. And I think from there I've had a very great career in just doing exactly what I love to do, which is to interact and engage with students and help them find their pathway.
So I thought that was going to be the last question, but last question.
Last question.
You used to work for Prince, or had something to do with Prince.
Oh, well, no, wait a minute. I worked at the Fabulous Forum when it was the Fabulous Forum, and then it was the Great Western Forum. And so I worked with a lot of groups. I worked with them backstage, and I got to meet a lot of famous people. I mean, Kiss, Rod Stewart, you name it, I met them. And I did a lot of backstage, a lot of the things that I worked on was really before the concert. So I did go to a lot of the after concert things. And yes, Prince did ask me out. I was in my 20s, and it was... that is also where I became interested in police work. I was always more interested in what the police were doing, the crowd control and things like that. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I don't know why I thought that was more interesting than being famous, but
everyone's different.
Yeah, everybody's different. But so one time I was eating my lunch in my car and a police officer came by and he started talking to me, and we were just chatting, and all of a sudden he got a call for a 927D, and I went, "What's that?" And he goes, "A dead body." Oh, I just had to be a police officer then. It was so much more interesting than eating my lunch in the parking lot at the Forum.
So that sealed the deal.
That sealed the deal. So, yeah, I decided that I had to get into law enforcement because I wanted to be the one at the scene. And ever since then, I've made a scene.
I knew we were going to have at least one of these moments. This is usually how it is in meetings, which is why I love Dr. Parsons.
That is true. But, that's why the students love me, too. In fact, I was reading on Rate My Professor. A student said, I missed my calling. I should have been a comedian. And I thought, no, I didn't miss my calling. I've got an audience.
And they pay the tuition to be here. Well, I know it's the lunch hour, so we're going to get to lunch now. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.